I am a deep ocean explorer for NASA. Here's what they don't want you to know. When NASA reached out to recruit me for a special project, I was thrilled. The project, codenamed Hadal, was shrouded in secrecy. We were told we'd be exploring the Twilight Zone, the deepest parts of the ocean, beyond the reach of sunlight, where the pressure is so intense it would crush a human in seconds. The goal, they said, was to search for new forms of life. But as we prepared for our first descent, I began to suspect there was more to the mission. Our team was small, just a handful of scientists and engineers, all sworn to secrecy. We boarded a research vessel in the dead of night, far from any prying eyes. The ship was equipped with state-of-the-art technology, much of it classified, and a submersible that looked like something out of a science fiction movie, sleek, black, and equipped with equipment I couldn't begin to understand. The first few dives were uneventful. We descended into the abyss, our lights cutting through the darkness, illuminating strange bioluminescent creatures that drifted in the black water. It was eerie, beautiful, but not unexpected. Then, on the fourth dive, things started to change. We were miles below the surface, deeper than any human had ever gone, when the submersible's instruments began to pick up a signal. It was faint at first, just a blip on the radar, but it grew stronger as we continued to descend. It wasn't like anything we'd ever seen or heard before. An unearthly sound, rhythmic and haunting, almost like a song. I remember exchanging uneasy glances with my crewmates. This wasn't in the mission brief. We tried to trace the source of the signal, but it seemed to be coming from everywhere and nowhere at once, echoing through the water like a ghost. Our onboard computers struggled to make sense of it, spitting out data that made no sense. Then, just as suddenly as it had started, the signal stopped. The silence that followed was deafening. We floated there, suspended in the dark, our lights casting eerie shadows on the seafloor. I felt a chill run down my spine, a deep, instinctual fear that I couldn't shake. We were not alone down there. The official report we filed later glossed over what happened next. We said the dive was aborted due to a malfunction in the submersible's systems, a convenient excuse to get us back to the surface. But the truth was far stranger, far more terrifying. As we began our ascent, something massive passed by us in the darkness. I didn't see it clearly, none of us did, but we all felt it. The submersible rocked violently, as if caught in a powerful current, and the lights flickered as something enormous moved just beyond the edge of our visibility. It was impossible to say what it was, but it was big. Bigger than any creature known to science, big enough to dwarf the submersible and everything else around it. The return to the surface was tense and silent, each of us lost in our thoughts. We didn't speak of what we'd felt, of what we'd heard, but the tension in the air was palpable, a shared understanding that whatever we'd encountered down there was beyond our comprehension. The mission was put on hold after that. Officially, it was due to technical issues, but I suspected the truth was far more complicated. We were debriefed by people I'd never seen before, men in suits who asked pointed questions and took detailed notes. They weren't interested in the data we'd collected or the samples we'd brought back. All they cared about was the signal, and whether we'd heard it again. Over the following months, I began to notice strange things. My emails and calls were monitored, my movements tracked. It was clear that whatever we'd stumbled upon was something the higher-ups wanted to keep quiet, but I couldn't let it go. I became obsessed, poring over the data, trying to piece together what we'd encountered. One night, long after I should have gone home, I found something buried deep in the submersible's logs. It was a fragment of the signal, distorted and incomplete, but enough to analyze. I ran it through every program I could think of, trying to make sense of it. What I found made my blood run cold. The signal wasn't random. It was structured, with a complex pattern that suggested intelligence. It wasn't just noise, it was a message. And though I couldn't fully decode it, I could make out one word, repeated over and over: welcome. I went to my superiors with the data, hoping they'd take it seriously. But instead of the response I expected, I was shut down, told to drop it, and focus on the original mission. When I pressed the issue, they reassigned me to a different project, far away from the ocean. The message was clear: stop asking questions.